There's a lot of gray area. I know there's a black and white when it comes to law, but there's a lot of gray, a lot of emotions and feelings here. Her and I both have a history and a past of being abused and hurt.
Welcome to Bench Report Court Cam.
This is the time and date for sentencing. The matter of People versus Tricia Marie Haskins, also known as Tricia Marie Tepfer. She's here with her lawyer, Rhonda Ives, and Miss Ives was caught in a difficult circuit court case, just finished. She let the court know she may be delayed. Mr. Gary Gabriel is here on behalf of the prosecuting attorney's office. Randy Tepfer, the complainant in the case, called and said he was running late and he was trying to get here. He wanted to, quote, be here for his wife. Then he called a little bit later and he was upset because he'd been in an automobile accident and wasn't going to be able to be here. I think we have a phone number and maybe we'll see if we can get a hold of him by telephone. Anyway, the defendant pled to a charge of domestic violence. She was released and then she was with Mr. Tepfer in violation of her bond conditions. I canceled the bond and set the matter for sentencing today. Ms. Ives, what would you like me to know?
Well, Your Honor, I'm worried about my client in this matter. I mean, I know she pled guilty. I know she understands that it took two to get into this argument, and it sounds like there might have been alcohol involved, but I also worry about the controlling nature of her husband. We've talked about her perhaps separating. I mean, only she knows what the right answer is, but I would ask the court to consider time served. I really do believe that he pushes her buttons, is very controlling, and just in the phone calls I received, I think it was yesterday or the day before, he reached out to me and basically said he had enough of his wife not being at home and that he was going to go to the prosecutor's office and make sure this case got dismissed. And I said, well, she's already pled, and there was an indication that they were going to charge her with a felony, and she ended up pleading, taking responsibility, and she's going to be sentenced. And I told him the day. I said, if you want to make a statement, you could be present on the sentencing date. And I don't know if he spoke with the victim's advocate, but just his demeanor towards me and how his wife should be home with him makes me, I put this on the record more for my client's benefit, because I feel like if she continues to perhaps stay in a relationship with him, she might find herself arrested and with further altercations, because he definitely sounds like he pushes her buttons, and certainly was trying to do the same to me. And I'm concerned for her, and that is where my position is on the case, Your Honor. I believe she has she should receive time served. The court perhaps put her on probation so she can get some treatment and figure out what direction she's going to take in her life. Well, which is almost gotten released.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Thanks.
I guess her father is in the courtroom with us.
Her father's here, and the officer who was working the accident is actually bringing Randy here, so we'll allow him to say his piece. Mr. Gabriel, I suspect you don't disagree with a lot of what Ms. Ives said about the nature of this relationship. What's the prosecutor's input here?
In a lot of ways, Your Honor, I wish Mr. Tefler would be here to hear my input. I think
well, we can stall a little bit if you'd like to wait for him to get here. Said he was 5
maybe
minutes
in
out.
light of some of the things I read in the police report and the victim impact statement that I have in front of me now, if we could wait a little bit, I think.
Well, we got all afternoon, so at least I do. So
I'm not going anywhere until
we'll
you tell me I can.
All right. He probably needs to hear what you have to say too. You have that bruise on your cheek that looks better than the last time I saw you. I told you I was somewhat skeptical of your version of how you got it, but, I wasn't there. So, you've been in jail now for 12 days. You were in jail at the front end for 2 days, so I believe you have 14 days of jail credit. All right. Let's sit here and wait and hopefully, but one person's definition of 5 minutes and another's are two different things, but he is in a police car and the accident was somewhere between Sturgis and here, so he probably is not very far out. Let me ask this while we're waiting, Miss Haskins. If you don't go back to Randy's place, have you got somewhere to go?
I was hoping my father's.
All right, Mr. Haskins, is that an option for her to come stay with you?
Temporarily, yes.
I'm sorry?
Temporarily.
Temporarily.
Yes.
All right. What I don't want is you out standing on the
In the cold.
doorstep of the jail in the cold.
Yeah, no, I totally could find a place. I am clean. I can get a job quickly. I definitely have some decisions to make, and I wish I would have never let it get this far because it wasn't me. It wasn't me who's been the aggressor. It looks like it on there because he's got these cameras and he needs some help. He needs some mental help. And I had him admitting it, and now he's denying it. And it's just so all over the place. And it's starting to really.
Well, you said something, you were pretty straight up. He got in your face and you slapped him, and then you said something like,
Set the phone out of his hand.
I tried to watch the video and I wasn't able to obtain it.
I actually caught the corner of the phone, and I never.
All right, let's wait till he
Okay.
gets here. You said something like he deserves to get slapped or something like that.
I did probably say that. Yes, absolutely.
Well, let's put it this way. She isn't gonna leave without you, so. Yeah. This is an ongoing issue between Randa and Tricia. In January alone, we have had 5 calls of service involving them.
Some of the calls were definitely false because they had showed up and we hadn't even been disagreeing or anything. So I'm not sure why there were so many, honestly.
Yeah, what does that tell you?
That we shouldn't be together.
Well, that's not for me to decide, but you certainly have a toxic relationship.
Correct. Yes, it's definitely not going anywhere healthy. But I'm definitely not a threat to him or anybody else. I mean, I had a girl get in my face in jail. I'm not gonna hit nobody. I'm not gonna strike nobody. I don't want nobody paying up against nobody.
The video is clearly stated that Tricia wanted Randy to put the phone down. Then it appeared that Tricia struck him 2 or 3 times in the head to make him drop the phone. He had an injury to the left side of his head below his left eye, one on the bridge of his nose, and an injury to the right wrist.
I guess I should have started reporting it a long time ago when he started doing things to me, because he's been the aggressor.
Well,
It's
that's-
here nor there, but
that's not uncommon. That a female defendant is in a relationship and has been subject to an abusive relationship, and that on the day of the offense, the female version of the couple assaults him. It's not a defense. It might be a sentence factor. But you're telling me how terrible it is, and I told you not to go back there, and then you voluntarily went back.
you're right. I'm wrong.
So I didn't accomplish much. Anyway, I thought I would hold on to you until we got this resolved and give you some time to think about it. Female says she just doesn't beat him enough. The new prosecutors, victim advocates did try to contact the complainant earlier this week, last week, and he never responded.
Your Honor, you don't have his most recent victim impact dated 1/28/25?
No, I don't.
Would you care to?
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
I don't.
I
it
have
either,
Miss
so-
Ackerman's attempt to contact him last week.
No, it's one
But
of his
I-
signature and what he wrote, so that's the same.
Yeah.
Doesn't say anything negative.
Time served and counseling for both of them. All right, thank you. That's where I guessed he was coming from. Here he is now. Please have a seat, sir. Thank you for being here. The officer just dropped you off at the front door?
Yes.
Do you have a way back?
No.
We'll take care of that with a bus pass if we need to. All right, we had started the sentencing in People versus Tricia Marie Hankins Tepfer. We heard from Rhonda Ives. Mr. Gabry from the prosecutor's office had input to provide. We heard you were on the way, so we just paused our proceedings to wait for you to get here. So the complainant, Mr. Randy Tepfer, is here now. Mr. Gabry, I'd be happy to hear what you want to tell me now.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, as the court indicated, I kind of wanted to have Mr. Tepfer here when I spoke. He did, as I understand it, meet with Ms. Davis, and that interview seems to, or someone from our office, I'm assuming it was Ms. Davis, because she conveyed the information to me, and the information she conveyed to me was consistent with what I presented to the court regarding a victim statement he made on January 28th of 2025. That primarily asking, taking some responsibility for the whole event, as well as professing his feelings for his wife and asking the court to consider time served. Court's awarded this a 93-day misdemeanor. It's aware that it seems to be an ongoing history. The court already commented on some statements in the call log as far as the defendant saying she just doesn't beat him enough at 9/27/44. Your Honor, you and I both have been in the criminal justice system for a very long time, and we recall early on in our careers when law enforcement was being called upon to primarily calm and cool things down and then leave the parties. And we've seen the evolution of that to the point where law enforcement has to be recognized as exactly that. They're there to enforce the law. This couple has apparently involved law enforcement at least 5 times in the recent past, if not since this occurred. It's not really clear from the.
I thought it was in the month of January.
Yeah, that's kind of what I read too, and it seemed excessive. I know one thing popped on my desk about the complainant being upset that somebody didn't tell him she was out, and then she violated her bond, and then I read this. Your Honor, you're well aware. I mean, law enforcement's trained to enforce the law. They're not trained to be counselors, mediators, and the statement by the complainant here that, gee, I did not wish charges pressed upon Tricia and did not want to see her go to jail. He just wanted police officers there to mediate the situation. I guess my reason for speaking is I want the parties to understand that going forward, that's not going to be the position of the prosecutor's office. Court's well aware that we convicted a man yesterday of domestic violence before Judge Pattison. If police officers come and they have probable cause, we're going to look very seriously at whether or not we're just going to go, oh, okay, they don't want to cooperate anymore.
Right.
Sometimes we've got to back the police to say, we don't want you going into those situations as counselors. We want you going in there as law enforcement officers. And I wanted Mr. Teffler to hear that too. They're not divorce counselors. I think these parties need help. I concur with what Ms. Ives is concerned about. I know we don't have the power to make Mr. Teffler do anything, but boy, if these two people are going to live together, this is not a cartoon thing like the Bickersons. People get hurt, and you never can control how much that hurt happens. Maybe it's not intended, but a slap and a hit on the head, and you might have a death. So I know Ms. Davis is very serious about domestic violence. She's impressed that upon me. And so to the extent I'll be in district court, I intend on being so also.
I think you already were. That same mindset. All right, Ms. Haskins, what would you like me to know?
I would like you to know that I am sorry for breaking my bond and not staying away like you told me to.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about this. I let you out on the 10th, and you got arrested on the 18th. I believe Randy called 911.
Right.
So you're already back arguing.
I wasn't even arguing that day.
He said they had been verbally arguing, but nothing physical had occurred. How many days had you been there before he called the police on the 18th?
One day. He asked me to come over and stay. And so I came, and I actually was going to bed. I had no glasses, no nothing. I just taken a shower, get ready to lay down. And all of a sudden over the Bluetooth, I hear 911. I just started flipping because I'm like, what the heck just happened? I couldn't find my keys. Once again, I had to leave with nothing, my glasses, nothing. Had my purse, took off walking because I didn't do anything wrong. He asked me to come to the house.
All right.
And I know we weren't supposed to be together, but we weren't even there was no like shuffle. There was no disagreement. He was literally doing the dishes and gonna come lay down. And all of a sudden, that's what I'm saying. There's some stuff not connecting inside that I really love him and I wish he would get help. I'll get help with him. I don't know, even just being friends, I don't know.
Well, that's what he recommends is counseling for both. Let's hear from him. Mr. Tepfer, why don't you come up to the podium? No, right there.
Here, sir.
This is the bench, that's the podium. All right, so the incident went down on December 28th. She went to jail, she got out on the 30th. What would you like me to know about how you feel about this? I did get your victim statement, Mr. Gabriel shared with me. And what you told the clerk on the phone is that you wanted to be here for Patricia. I was actually gonna call you to get your input, but you're here now. What do you want me to know?
I want you to know that there's a lot of gray area. I know there's a black and white when it comes to law, but there's a lot of gray, a lot of emotions and feelings here. Her and I both have a history and a past of being abused and hurt. We met and she told me her testimony and what she's been through, raped and abuse. And I have also, my dad was a monster. I have scars on my face from my dad. I have PTSD, severe anxiety. So let's move forward. We bought a home. First time homeowners a year ago, September, 14 months now, 15 months. We've been in our home.
Is the home in both of your names?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I put her on the deed. She's not on the loan, but I wanted to make sure she knew that she was part of this house. So I put her on the deed. Shortly after that, I lost my job in February 26th of 2024, literally 4 or 5 months after we bought a home. It's because I hurt my foot out at working 10, 12-hour days, steel-toed boots, cement floors. I had surgery on my foot, and then 2 months later, I broke the same foot. And then I went into work, 160/100 blood pressure. February 26th, they let me go that day.
Where were you working?
Now, Rogue Tool.
Okay.
Rogue Tool for 11 years. Now, we're falling behind. There's a lot of stresses. She seems to have a quick fuse when things aren't going the way she expects them to go. I may exaggerate that in my head. That's why I want to get help, because I feel like sometimes I'm in a vacuum, I'm in a tunnel when she is yelling, and she knows I have PTSD. She's even mentioned I want to learn how to communicate with someone with PTSD, high anxiety. I really appreciated that. She actually mentioned that recently. So I'm hoping that we can go forward with that.
Well, let me ask this. She says you called her up and said, hey, come over. So she comes over, she's at your joint house, and then you call the cops. That doesn't seem fair.
No, it doesn't. Because first of all, I went over and I took her close to her and she was, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? I want to come home. I miss our babies, which is the 2 kitties and our dog. I miss you. In her head, this wasn't necessary, but we have already been through the courts and this is where we were. I took her stuff. We did communicate that day. I felt really bad. I felt sad for her. I felt bad. It's hard for my health, my emotions. She's the only one that can comfort me when I am going through an anxiety attack. And I missed that. And I felt that coming on. And I said, sure, come over. She came over. I mentioned some things about her not being faithful to me. She said, that's not true. That's my imagination. I gave her some reasons why. She didn't appreciate that. She talks over me, wouldn't let me talk. She stepped forward. She talks with her hands. I called them just for her to hear the 911. I thought that would calm her down, but they came and she took off walking and they arrested her.
Well, what it got her was 12 days in jail.
Well, she talks with her hands. She's poking at me. She's yelling. Now the prosecutor talks about the police not being mediators. From the very first time we called, if you guys need any help, you need to talk, let me know. And I think that was more on a personal level now that I'm thinking about it, from Cody Middle. He was talking about, because I know Cody from working at Broke Tool before he became a police officer. And when I called them the second time, they said that we can mediate. You guys are just wanting us here to mediate. Yes, I don't want any problems. Well, okay. You know, what is your problem? And they would talk to both of our sides, and then they would tell us that we just need help. We got to calm our anger. I have learned that I am supposed to find something that's real and call it out. Find something that I can touch just to bring me back from that trauma that I had as a boy. So I am getting help and I am learning some things. Now, I did not call the police unnecessarily because she can be violent. She hit me in the first place. That's what brought us here. And so now I don't want it to get any further. And if they can come and mediate her and maybe put some fear in her to slow
That ain't
down.
gonna happen. Now, when I first saw her, 12 days ago, she had a great big fresh shiner, big black eye. She said she hit a wall. Do you know anything about that?
I was in the shower. I was in the shower and I heard a bang on the outside of the wall of the shower. A couple minutes later, she came in and her whole face. I said, what is going on? What happened? She said that she was up on the back of the couch adjusting we have blinds, they're strips. Oh, they're crazy. They're terrible. They fall down, they get crooked. She was up there trying to put one up or fix it. She said that she stepped off the couch and she bounced. And I have questioned her repeatedly about this. 12 feet across the room and hit her face flat on the wall for that to look like it looked like a fist fight that she was in. And we just got company, not but 5 minutes before this happened. I was in the shower. She was fearful to even answer the door. And I don't know what was going on. They were friends of hers. Anyway, they were friends of hers. She answered the door. Roughly 5 minutes later, I hear a big bang on the outside of the wall. She comes in. She said that she was up fixing the blinds. She stepped off the couch and she bounced across the room and hit her face on the wall. And I questioned her that repeatedly. And she told me to not push it, not press it. And that's what happened. I am not physical. I do not raise
Well,
my
she
hand.
doesn't accuse you of it, but, and I said I wasn't there. So someone, while you were in the shower, someone came to the door.
That's correct. Can I speak, please?
Yeah.
Am I right? That was,
And it wasn't my friends, it was our friends.
Okay.
And I didn't want to be in that room with them because you don't trust me for some silly reason, because I've never stepped out of my marriage. I will stand on that till my dying day. I've never been unfaithful. But yes, I didn't want to answer the phone or the door because there was a guy and a lady. I knew the lady, I didn't know the guy. So therefore, you shouldn't have gotten in the shower. But yes, I did. My klutzy butt did jump off the couch. What I did was went to catch my fall and I flew into the wall, and it exaggerated the impact worse because I was trying to catch my stumble. So
Anyway,
yeah, it was a bit
I was
craziness.
sick about it. I was very sad, very sick about it because her face was really messed up for a little while.
All right, Mr. Tepfer, I'm gonna give you a couple of bus passes to get you.
But I want you to know,
Call someone to get you, or do you need a bus pass?
I do need a bus pass. That would be great. But I want you to know, please, sir, that this was so important to me to speak on my wife's behalf, that I was running late and I got here as fast as I can. I ended up getting my car towed. I just wanted to speak. I wanted to see her. And I wanted to speak on her behalf and say how sorry I am. I think a lot of this, at first, it wasn't exaggerated, but then because of the first incident, I started maybe exaggerating things. And when I was first told that the police could mediate, that's what I was under the impression. But I understand that they've got work to do, and I am sorry for calling them. And I don't believe it was 5 times.
Somebody else was calling, remember we would be hanging out and they just also.
Oh,
show
that's
up.
true. There was a couple times they would just show up, and we believe that was just friends. That was, I don't know, because we was quiet even.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think I called them 3 times, but that's 2 times too many. I love my wife. I have PTSD, so I do exaggerate loud noises. I exaggerate frustrations.
His mom passed away too.
My mom just passed
My
away
mother-in-law.
2 days ago. But that, I just wanted you to know that I love my wife, and it's hurting me to not be together. This PPO, for us not to be around each other.
Well, there
together,
isn't a PPO, it's a bond condition, and I'm gonna lift it. But you're at risk of getting arrested every time he cries wolf. And you're also at risk of losing your temper and
I'm gonna get help.
hitting him. You're also at risk of him hitting you. Your father's offered a place for you to go. That might be the best place in the interim. I'm not gonna say you can't live together, but you need to quit calling the cops. And if I knew what I knew now, I put her in jail for 12 days because you invited her over to your house, then called the cops when you didn't like it and had her picked up on the bond condition.
That's not exactly accurate, sir.
Well, that's what happened.
Yes.
So have a seat, Mr. Tepfer. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
for being here. I don't know what to say. You both love each other. You both got lots of baggage, both got PTSD, childhood trauma, which visits itself on adults and causes problems like this, substance abuse issues. You've struggled with that. This does not seem to be alcohol or drug related, just anger. I'm going to order 14 days jail credit, 14 days. Fine and cost is $0. Crime victims' rights fee is $75. There's a $50 state minimum fee. Haskins, I don't think you owe any money. There's drugs in the past, and I don't get the sense that this was related to that, but don't go down that rabbit hole.
No, thank you. Been there.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna give you the minimum allowable fine. Ms. Ives earned her fee here, but I'm gonna waive it. You owe me $125 by February 28th. All right, you take that with you. If you need more time, you contact the court. Mr. Haskins, they're gonna take her back to the jail. You can pick her up at the jail, and then you can decide where you wanna go. I'm not prohibiting you from having contact, but I have certain fears that are shared by the prosecutor. If I don't hear any more about this, that would make me happy. I've known both of you
You're
for
not
a
gonna hear
long
anything about
time. And it would be fine with me if I didn't see any more in 2025.
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Tefra, the bailiffs can help you call the bus, I think. Ms. Haskins, you're gonna go back to the jail. Mr. Haskins, I'd ask if you'd pick her up there probably by 3 o'clock. It's 2:30, or by 4 o'clock. excuse
Say
me.
what?
We started an hour late.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you for waiting for me, sir.
All right, thank you for making the effort to get here. I'm sorry, now you gotta mess around with a car tow. I was gonna call you, but it's better to have you here live and in person because the lawyers wanted you to hear what they had to say as well.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stick around longer and click the highlighted videos to your right. See you there.